Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we want to welcome you to this show. It's relatively new. We call it Date the Right One. And we're really excited about bringing this forward to share with you. Those of you that don't know me, I am your host. I'm Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of relationship building. And I've really helped thousands being able to move through the dating arena, move through to the transition of dating, helping a lot of people through a relationship loss of some sort. So I am a divorce, dating, and a life coach. And I truly do help those that are making that transition into enjoying their single life and understanding it. But today we want to make sure that let's do our homework real fast because I always forget about it. Our website is Going Solo Network, and also we have the Going Solo Media where all of our information is on the media side of it. And if you want to email me, my email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. So now let's get on with our topic because we've got a lot we're going to cover tonight. We have a couple really great guests, and let's bring them forward right here. We have Dr. Elsbeth Meuth, if I pronounce it correctly, and Freddy Zental Weber. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Freddy Zental Weaver, and it's Meuth. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We're going to talk about your brand new book, and it's called Sexual Enlightenment. But those of you that are not familiar with this wonderful couple, they are featured on Showtime's documentary series Sexual Healing and the Emmy Award-winning NBC show Starting Over. Best-selling authors of this wonderful book we're going to talk about today. They've been endorsed by a world-renowned spiritual pioneer, Dr. Michael Beckwith, and co-founders of this wonderful site. It's called TantraNova Institute in Chicago. So if you guys haven't heard of that, definitely check out the site. It's TantraNova.com. They are nominated, or they have been nominated, as Change Maker at the White House, sponsored in 2016 of the United States Women's Summit in Washington. And what an honor that is. So thank you so much for being on the show here today with us. It's truly an honor to have you.
Thank you, Cece.
Yes. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
It is great. Well, your book, we just got a hello here from Graham. Hey, hello, Graham. Thank you for joining us tonight. Oh, thank you, Graham. We appreciate that. Those of you that are listening, of course, you can comment to us, and we will hear and post your comments right here. We want to make sure that you join in on our conversation here tonight because we would love to have you. So let's talk a little bit about how you guys, wonderful couple that you are, how did you meet and get into such a terrific field as, sexual enlightenment? So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah. Well, we met here in Chicago about 21 years ago, and we started our work. I was first introduced to a large part of the curriculum that we teach now when I was 13 years old. I was living in Hawaii, and I was going through my puberty and spending a lot of time in the shower. And my father was a practicing psychiatrist and took pity on me and gave me a book to read on how to integrate meditation and sex practices. So I loved it. My girlfriend loved it. I had some doubts about playing college level basketball, but through the meditation practices that I'd learned, I was able to build my confidence and really get out of my head the stories that I couldn't. And so I went on after college, went on continuing to learn these practices, and I did workshops and reading books and applying these principles in my relationship. I was in the software business for a long time in San Francisco, and what I knew about that work was to be inspired. And after 15 years in that industry, I just kind of lost the oomph. So I thought, well, maybe a new city. So a company was looking at me and hired me and moved me to Chicago, and that was 21 years ago. And I really came to Chicago not for the work, because I was in the same business, just a new city, but I came here to meet my beloved Elsbeth.
But he didn't know yet.
I didn't know at the time, but I was single, and I was online looking for Shakti, a female Tantra partner. And I ran across her profile, and she liked what I said. We met, and the rest of it's history. 21 years we've been doing this work, teaching all over the world to couples and singles the principles of how to find happiness and ease and flow in your life and in your sexual life and in life general. So we'll have fun talking about that tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, many of us that are single, we've come out of relationship loss. And as I was talking to you prior to the show, we come out of a, kind of a hard time, a hard relationship and looking to rebuild our lives. And so we spend some time really getting to know ourselves, being able to expand our horizons a little bit on what brings us joy, right? What brings us happiness. But part of that, and we don't talk about it often, is our sexual experience, our sexual side of it, our sexual being. We don't always talk about that. And that's I think in today's world, and we're getting a little better maybe, but it seems to be a taboo, doesn't it, to really talk about our sexual experiences, how we feel, and I've often thought, about raising your vibration, to be able to explore that. What would you say with regards to that?
Yeah, it's really the sexual energy is life force energy. Without it, we wouldn't be alive. It's the energy that brought us into this life. And yes, totally what you just said, it's like so hidden. On the other hand, there's also a great deal of obsession around it. So it's either obsessed or suppressed, and what we want to bring to the world further is to connect with that life force, life-giving energy that is sexual in nature, so that it may enliven us, our physical body, our physical health, our emotional body, our love self, and our mental and spiritual body, so we can be in that flow and then experience like ourselves as sexual spiritual beings, both within. And then, when you have a beloved in your life or bring a beloved into your life, you can share this with that beloved.
Yeah, I would also add that, this is it's a Machiavellian world, as people are hidden, war and unconsciousness. Yet, when we're in our sexual energy, whether you're doing consciousness work or not, we're in a loving space, intimate space. We're chemically changed. We're endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, the feel-good hormone. So we're in a chemical state of ease. So what we've been doing is teaching how to use that altered state of consciousness to get to things we want to create in our life, but we can't seem to get past ourselves or our unconscious selves and keep us stuck in a spin. So in addition to having fun with all of the love stuff that we do, we're also teaching how to co-create with this creative energy. Forever, we've been procreating with this energy in the last 100 or so years, recreating with it. And so what we're teaching is how to co-create our lives with using this energy to get deeply connected.
Very interesting, because I truly do believe that if we can get more in touch with ourselves, it raises our awareness, right? And it raises our energy level, which of course raises our vibration and brings, a counter partner into our lives that's more appropriate for us. And so I think shows like this are very important, because it truly, as your book, it enlightens people and creates an awareness for them to, maybe if they don't know about a particular subject, they learn a little bit more about it, explore it a little bit more. So as we begin the show tonight, how do we start? If someone wants to become more aware and be more enlightened, what would you suggest to them?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Also, what do we mean by enlightenment? So in the way we look at it, enlightenment has to do with ourselves becoming more coherent and integrated. Many of us are so compartmentalized, and it's just how we, come up in the world, are being raised. Compartmentalized, I mean, like perhaps there's our physical self or sexual self, but it may be separate from my love self, or I may be always in my head and not connected in my heart. And, I'm very holding back opening up because that may feel too vulnerable. I don't want to get hurt again. So that is what I call compartmentalization. However, wholeness and bliss can only be experienced when we become interconnected within, like my physical, sexual, my emotional and love, and mental and spiritual self really come into alignment. And so that is actually where the sense of enlightenment, the seeing, the new possibility arises. And for me, Cece, it was a huge opening. So over 20 years ago, I was in my midlife crisis. My late husband had passed away, like, in the mid 90s. I was a management consultant and I was really good at consulting, but with the loss, and I was really struggling in terms of my emotional self, in terms of relational questions and love and opening up again. And I also had a kind of a pattern of attracting unavailable men when I started dating again. And so I became keenly aware that if I was not going to change that pattern, I wouldn't end up with lasting intimacy and love in my life before I leave this planet. And I was not willing to do that. And that was the moment when I said, okay, I need to get enlightened. So when I delved deeply into meditation and then into Tantra, studying Tantra, and that was so life-shifting, because what opened up for me out of the tantric healing, the tantric opening, was that I had held distrust towards men. And I didn't know about that. If you had known me, Cece, 21, 22, 23 years ago, you never would have called me a distrusting bitch. I was kind, I was charming, I reeled them in. But underneath what we can conceive with our conscious mind, in the subconscious, there was some story left. And that was opened up through the tantric healing that led me back to, when I was 18 years old, first boyfriend, first love, beautiful 2 years we had spent together. And then he asked me to have intercourse. And it was so painful. I said yes, but I was not really ready for it. I had to go to the gynecologist. The bill went to my house. My dad opened it. All hell broke loose. The boyfriend left shortly after. My dad called me a whore. So, I was shattered. And in that place, I started to close up, like armor myself. Now, this is not a conscious decision. This is something we do to protect ourselves. And along with that armoring, also, I made a decision, which was, men are never there for me when I really need them. So that trailed through my adult life, and no wonder that I had a tendency towards unavailable men, because that was every time evidence for, this decision I had made. Men are not there for you when you need them. It's very curious how we play out early decisions, early experiences that we haven't resolved. We play out in our, middle-age life or older, unless we clear it. And given that it was so powerful for me and life-changing, I said, I want to share this with others. Went to a certification program and became a Tantra teacher. And that was the time when Freddy came into my life.
Well, it's a wonderful story, except for some of the difficult situations that you had when you're growing up. But, I think often that is an experience for women that happens over and over again. Their first time, you're thinking that sex is going to be a wonderful thing, and it ends up being a very painful a painful thing. And then as you grow and develop within your life, you don't ever really forget that first time experience. And you're so right with it developing and creating, issues for you as you progress in your future. Now, I talk to so many people, and that right now in their lives, sex is a very, very difficult situation. And it could be because of health. It could be, various different things that are happening with them. And so what would you say to those they've had a past relationship that's been difficult, right? And they're moving into this new life of being single, and they want to really open themselves. And I love what you said about creating a shift, because I think and I love the name of your book, because enlightened is so important, to be enlightened about many, many topics and subjects. And I think sex is so vital, so important to us. But the more we seem to enlighten ourselves about something, the more we learn about something, we can then create a positive shift in our lives. And so then my question to you is, those that are looking to start evaluating their lives and start creating this kind of positive shift, how could they go about it? And I know on your website, you have wonderful programs in which people can experience and participate in. And so share with us just a little bit about some of the things that they might be able to do in order to be able to, help them kind of open the door a little bit for the healing and being able to progress forward.
Yes, good question. For all of us, and Elsbeth's story is so apropos for all of us, because we all have somewhere in our lives things that we've appropriated that perhaps served at one time that don't serve us now. So we live often from the past into the now and into the future. And doing that, we miss the moment. So enlightenment is really enlightening ourselves to the possibility and dispelling the disbelief that what we can imagine is possible. And so that's what's great about for a lot of your listeners. They are out there and they're working through old story and so on. So there are a lot of ways to get actionable insights. And certainly in our workshops, there are processes that people do get that. Now, one thing is to get it analytically in our mind. Another thing is to get it energetically in our other total felt sense of our existence. And that's where this work becomes vitally important in shifting something. Because before we have the action from a thought, we have a feeling. And that feeling is what we often don't tap into. So through the practices that we teach and working consciously with life force or sexual energy, we can get unmasked or more vulnerably, easy enough for me to say, vulnerably exposed to that stuff running in the background that we don't see from those old stories that often are the very thing that keep ourselves from allowing in what we most deeply desire.
Yeah, and I would just build on that, the beauty of the tantric practice is that we get more in touch with our own flow. Because if I want to have wonderful sex and intimate connection with another, I want to be intimately connected with myself. And so even when couples come to us, and we work with a lot of singles, and even when couples come to us, everybody has to do their own work, because that channel that I spoke about earlier, where life force energy moves up and moves down through me all the time, I want to be connected. And how we connect with it is through the breath. And Cece, we could share a very, immediate practice here that could make a big difference, just a minute or two, if you like.
Yeah, that would be great. Why don't we take our commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll have you do that, share that with us, because I love what you say with regards to being in touch with yourself, because it really doesn't. I hate to say it doesn't matter whether you have a partner in your life if you're not really in touch with yourself. Right? If you don't have that flow within yourself, then there's problems that could possibly occur. And so this is what we want to do, is create that awareness that it has to start from within, right? In addition to Absolutely. And there's no right or wrong with it. It's just really being able to be more accessible to yourself, understand yourself, and be able to experience life to the fullest. And so that's what we're trying to do tonight when we talk about your wonderful book, Sexual Enlightenment. And of course, we have Dr. Elsbeth Meuth and Freddy Zental Weaver with us here tonight. And I want to thank you guys both for being here with us and sharing with us all of your knowledge and information with regards to this. I will also want to share with everybody your audio book is on Amazon. And so we want to make sure that you can just go to Amazon very easily, get the book if you want. But if you decide that you would like to, go to their website and get I didn't put up and I'll do that. I'll share that with you. But it's TantraNova. It's TANTRA Nova.com, I believe. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, we'll put that up in a little bit, but make sure that you guys can go right on there. And there's all kinds of different courses that you can take. There's videos that you can watch. So there's different information there that can help you get you kind of on the path of starting this enlightenment with yourself, being able to understand your flow and what's important to you. We've got tons of comments. They're coming through here. Graham, I know that you are actually wonderful. He's talking about, let's see, shifting equates to balance. Absolutely. Shift towards inner balance. Very, very good, Graham. Thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight. Again, everyone, you can comment with us right here live. We'd love to have your comments, and we'll be able to share them with you as we take them in. But we're going to have to take our quick break. But before we do, I want to make sure that I didn't mention this before, but we have wonderful sponsors of our show, goingsolocommunity.com and meettherightone.com. Going Solo Community is a connection community for singles, helping with that transition of divorce, transition of dating, really connecting with other like-minded individuals as you move forward in the development of your new life. And then Meet the Right One, of course, is a dating site, isn't it? It's really helping those meet together, kind of bind together, understanding of what it is that they're going through and learning as they go along. And so it's called Meet the Right One, brand new concept, groups and participation there. So we want to make sure that you guys take advantage of that. So goingsolocommunity.com, meettherightone.com is our sponsors here tonight. So we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We got lots of information, and we're going to actually do something special for you. So make sure you stick around. I am Cece Shatz, a Doyenne of relationship building. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and we'll be right back. Well, thank you for joining us. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Date the Right One show, and we're very excited about being able to be with you here tonight. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of relationship building, and we have a wonderful guest with us. We have two wonderful guests, actually. We have Dr. Elsbeth Meuth and Freddy Zental Weaver. We've been talking about their wonderful book called Sexual Enlightenment. First part of the show, we shared with you so much. So if you missed it, you got to go back and listen to it because it's very important and you don't want to miss out. But the biggest thing I can take away from it is that really, it's really up to us, right? Like you were saying, Dr. Elsbeth, it's the flow of us. It's our individuality. I guess, is that a big word, right? It's really us that create some of the blocks that we have, and we have to understand what those are so that we can create a shift in our lives to be able to move forward and create that wonderful energy that we want, to raise our vibration, to be able to attract others that we truly want in our lives. And so, we don't talk about sex enough, I think, sometimes, and it's not always the sexual act, right? We talk about sex and then we want to talk about the sexual act itself. It's the energy of that, right? It's the flow of that really is what kind of moves us forward. And so I want to be able to welcome you back to the show. And let's talk a little bit more about that. I know you were going to share with us some breathing exercises.
Yes, we want to share a foundational breathing exercise that will assist your listeners in beginning the road to watching their thoughts and the stories and their beliefs. It's called parasympathetic breathing versus sympathetic breathing. So we're actually going to be bringing the breath down into the lungs and down into the diaphragm and extending the belly like a big balloon on your inhalation, following with your awareness, your breath back up and out through your nose in your own pace, depth, and rhythm. And as you do that, your mind will get distracted. As you get distracted, just acknowledge that, be gentle with yourself, and bring your focus and awareness back to the breath, okay? So here we go. So seated up, sitting on top of your sit bones, feeling your spine stacked, beautiful. Your eyes can be open, closed, or soft focus, placing a hand on your belly to really get a sense of this. Beautiful. So now bring your awareness to your breath, following your breath into your nose, down your trachea, lungs, extending into your diaphragm, belly, and hand like a big balloon on your inhalation. Really feel that extension as you inhale. Follow with your awareness your breath back up and out through your nose in your own pace, depth, and rhythm. Letting your thoughts come, letting your thoughts go. Continue to breathe in this manner. I'm going to say a few more things. Following your breath into your nose, down your trachea, lungs, extending into your diaphragm and belly like a big balloon on your inhalation. Following with your awareness, your breath back up and out through your nose in your own pace, depth, and rhythm. Letting your thoughts come, letting your thoughts go. Giving your busy mind a rest for a few moments.
And while you're following the breath coming in and going out, and your belly rising on the inhale, and the belly falling on the exhale, notice the flow that is like a wave. The breath is like a wave coming and going, and that wave is moving through you. And while you're breathing in and out, take a moment and notice how you're feeling right now. Notice how your body is feeling. Notice any sensations. Now notice your emotional state, your state of emotion. Just notice, nothing to be done. And notice your state of mind, your state of thought. And then slowly come back by opening your eyes. And Cece, if you could share with us how you're feeling right now doing this practice.
Wonderful. I think you tend to feel more relaxed with it. It's a little harder for me because I'm watching, what's going on here in the station, but I do feel a little bit more relaxed, and you get more of a sense of your being. We slow down. We tend to be so quick and fast on everything, right? We're doing 100 things at one time, and this gets us more in tune with ourselves individually.
Yeah.
Well, this was just a few moments of this type of breathing, but what I'm sure most of your viewers experienced was a few moments where there was nothing but the breath and awareness of the breath. And then before they knew it, they were thinking about something. Did they feed the cat, or did they, what do they have to do tomorrow? And then they thought, oh, let me let that go, come back to the breath. So again, consciousness transformation is moment by moment. So again, be gentle with yourself. And what happens over a pretty short period of time of breathing in this manner as a meditation, you have longer and longer periods of time where you're just watching the thoughts and the stories without what we call the total felt sense of the story. And that's where we start to tune in at another level.
And that is the door that we want to open up, that coming to stillness, witnessing our breath coming and going like the ocean wave. And that is where we can start feeling the energy moving, because breath and life force energy go hand in hand. When we don't breathe, we die. It's rather obvious. So that means that life force energy and the breath go hand in hand. So if they go together when we die, they must go together when we are alive. And that is what we put to use here. And in the breath, we can affect the flow of energy. We never generate life force energy. It's given to us at the time of conception, and it leaves us when we leave this planet. However, we can affect the flow, both in the body, just as I showed earlier, how it moves up and down, but also emotional energy. I can actually guide my emotional energy towards opening my heart into love, or closing down into fear, constriction, hate, or whatever it may be. I do have power over that. This is really important, given also what you said earlier, Cece, that it's really us that creates our life.
It's all an inside job.
Yes. And so what we are sharing here with you is another way of tuning with yourself, because when you are in tune, life shows up more sunny, more open. And again, Cece, as you said earlier, then I'm living the vibration that I not only want to be myself, but also that I want to meet others that live in that vibration. And given that like energy, like frequency attracts like frequency, so if I'm constricted here, guess what? I attract constricted energy over there.
So this practice is really essential for people to learn to get a little bit of distance from a lot of the story making we do, because we have a trigger, something happens, oh, that date didn't go well, or I'll never find a good date. And then we have a conversation, again, stuff that's been decided a long time ago, triggers from way in the past. So that trigger then cascades into a felt sense, and then our stomach's in it, our energy's in it. So for us to really begin to shift something, we need to develop tools that will give us distance from those stories. And this is one of them.
Yeah. So then also we can take this to whole other levels. So there is the solo practice that we want to cultivate. And of course, you can imagine that this can take us to whole new levels when we connect our breath with our sexual aroused energy, and breathe up our orgasmic energy from the sexual center all the way up into the third eye and back down again. What opens up is whole body orgasms, orgasmic waves. Men can have multiple orgasms by learning this practice just by themselves as a solo practice. And imagine if two people can come together, male sexual energy rises quickly and also goes down quickly. Female sexual energy rises slowly. We don't know if it's coming or going. However, when it's awakened, it can come up to a plateau and stay on that plateau for a long, long time. You know, so how would it be for the men or the one who is in his masculine energy? Because what we are talking about is also for same-sex couples or for what is it called, bisexual couples, transgender couples, you know, where the man can learn to really circulate his energy into his heart, and instead of this, you know, he hangs out there, he has gone already, it becomes this, where we meet on the plateau and then dance the dance together. Now it needs to be practiced a little bit.
But you know, whether you're doing consciousness work or not, when we're in our sexual energy at a high level or low level, we're altered. We're in a different state. So what we're teaching is how to use in that altered state the consciousness of seeing something, of dancing in that state for longer periods of time for men, and for a lot of women, first time discovering it. Because as you said, there are a lot of bad first experiences for women. And overall, in general, in the world, there has been a vilification of their sexual aliveness. You know, they're whores if you enjoy sex. And like Elsbeth's story, when she first experienced her sexual experience, in parts of the world today, a woman could be stoned to death for having sex out of wedlock. So for a woman, it's uncovering and rediscovering, for a lot of women, their sexual aliveness and their sexual power. For men, it's about bringing consciousness to this unconscious aspect of our sexuality. You know, for men, it's like the little guy with the little erection. Look, Ma, no hands, with the little head, little erection. And as grown men, we're run by the little head our whole life. So for men, it's about bringing consciousness. So in all of the variations of Tantra that there are, or sex ritual energetic practices, for the man, it's about learning to separate ejaculation from orgasm. And that's a specific practice that we teach through muscle control and awareness, energetic awareness, and breath awareness. And a man can learn to extend his orgasmic feeling, that euphoric 3 seconds that we have before the ejaculation. And those two things are separate, but oftentimes we think it's just together. And so that becomes another experience for men as well. And even a man who has not a hard, high level of sexual arousal, once we start tuning in, any subtle pleasure can be extended and can be felt very deeply. And that's what opens up for men in these practices as well.
And also, you know, as a consequence of this practice that Freddy called separating ejaculation from orgasm, where ejaculation is a reflex, muscular reflex going off in the pelvic floor, right before the ejaculation, all in service to eject the ejaculation. When a man can separate that reflex and forego the reflex, which he can learn to, you know, train his muscle in a certain way, and then at the same time learns to breathe up that orgasmic nectar, that wonderful feeling, into his heart, his sex and heart become integrated and connected. So he uses his testosterone energy to open his heart. And when his heart opens, guess what? Whose heart opens?
Her heart opens. And then when her heart opens, then her sexual center opens.
Yeah. So
because now she can trust.
Right. So because I know he wants to connect with me from his heart, not just from his sex, which may be wonderful, but often just connecting from the sex can show up as lusty or selfish, you know. And that's the beauty of the heart sex connection, where these two energies, the love and the sex, become integrated.
But once men are led to it, it's remembering what they've forgotten. So it's not like difficult. Once you are taught these practices, it can change the way they relate with themselves and people in their lives.
You know, I believe that what you're saying tonight, what you're sharing with us here, could truly change a lot of lives, because as we as we get older, we're having issues. I mean, I'm seeing and hearing it more and more. And I do believe that if we're more in touch with ourselves, and we're more intimate, right, with our partners, and slow it down a little bit and become more intimate. It's not all about the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's really about that bonding and that creating that unity, that what seems to happen when you're intimate. So I really do believe that those that are having struggles in their latter parts of their lives, or they're becoming more aware sexually, that they're, looking at life a little bit differently, they're looking at their partners a little bit differently. I really do believe that your book, The Sexual Enlightenment, can definitely help them be able to look at sex differently as they did when they were younger, and being able to really create that bond with a partner that I think we all want, right? We all crave that personal connection. And so often we're looking at it differently, or I hate to say wrongly, but we're looking at it in maybe a young mindset, where we need to really think about it differently, a little bit differently as we get older. And so I think your book can definitely help, and all the information that you have on your website. So I want to put that up while we're talking about it here. So the audio book, if you want to get it, because we're all into audio, right? And so I'm sure that you can get it right there on Amazon, A Sexual Enlightenment, and then go to the website and check it out, because you also have some videos on there. You have some learning tools for and sharing tools for people that can help. You also have some products on there that can maybe help you with your sexual experience. So it's TantraNova.com. That's TANTRA Nova NOVA.com. So you guys go there and check it out, because I really do think that it will help you, enlighten you, and really create an awareness of a different way of looking at sex. We look at it as such a physical thing, when I think it can be more of an energy, more of a true connection of intimacy with someone.
Yeah, it's a language of its own, and we all came through that language. It's interesting because the kernel of that energy is creative. It creates life, and it's pleasurable when we're in it, whether we're doing consciousness work or not. But when you bring consciousness to the sexual, as we teach it particularly, creativity and pleasure start showing up in areas of your life that seem completely unrelated to sex in the simple process of living. So, once you start listening energetically, the story, oh, I hate my job, 30 more years of retirement, what am I going to do? That dog doesn't hunt anymore, because even the thought and the energy and the feeling that comes up when you even think that, you're aware of that. So you're listening energetically. So the stories shift, colors become brighter, conversations become more exciting. Your life becomes more of a lived experience in the now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know that, I've had conversation with individuals that are going through prostate cancer, and they just feel like it's the end of the world, right? They think, their sexual abilities are going to be over with or whatever. And I say to them, that's not the case. I mean, I think that you can look at sex in a different way. And I feel this is something that can definitely, be able to help them be able to get through that and enlighten them on their sexual experiences as they move forward in their healing process. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show here with us. I mean, we're going to have to wrap it up. I know there's so much more we probably can cover, and we're getting tons of comments as we constantly we go through this. So I think that Graham really said thank you so much. He enjoyed the show. So we want to thank you for that. So, but I'd like to give you a few minutes before we close it out, if you'd like to share any last words with our audience.
Yes, really, as a send-off, what I would like to share with all of you listening is to drop into your heart and start listening to and from your heart. So if you just want to place one hand on your heart center. So when we bring awareness to a particular place, either in our body or anywhere in in our surroundings, this is where energy follows. So dropping into your heart center connects you with your love center, with compassion, of course, first and foremost for ourselves. And then in relating to others, that we start listening from the heart and speaking from the heart instead from the critic from up there, our head. So just bring your awareness to the heart, connect with your beautiful heart, breathe into your heart, and from there, speak to others, listen to others, and most importantly, from that place, listen to yourself. I just call it listen to your heart, and your heart will tell you the truth.
Beautifully said. Absolutely beautiful. So again, everyone, the audiobook is The Sexual Enlightenment on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and you can get it really quick. The website is TantraNova.com. That's TANTRA Nova, NOVA.com. So make sure that you go and check out their website and get all of the information there. I want to thank you so much for being with us here tonight.
Thank you.
A wonderful show. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Cece.
Oh, it is great. It's great having you guys. Well, a lot of information here tonight. I hope that it helped you. Again, Sexual Enlightenment by Dr. Elsbeth Meuth and Freddy Zental Weaver. You can get their book right on Amazon. It's an audio book, Sexual Enlightenment. Go to their website, TantraNova.com. Get the information there. You know, this show is called Date the Right One, and that's what we want. We want to make sure that you are enlightened with information that can help you move you through to really attract the right person into your life. And once you attract that right person, know what to do with it, right? Know where you need to go, what you need to do, and how you need to be able to move forward in your life in a very positive, enlightening way. And so we want to bring you great content to be able to help move you forward. We want to thank again our sponsors tonight to be able to bring this show here to you, goingsolocommunity.com and meettherightone.com. Check them out. See what they're all about. See if you like them. Join their sites if you're interested. But start building your life the way you want and attract people into your life, the ones that really, truly match your vibration. Well, we've got to run because we've got shows that are happening, and we'll see you here next time. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of relationship building. Of course, you can find me on goingsolonetwork.com. My email is goingsolo@gmail.com. Talk to you guys later. Love ya. Bye.